So, good morning. Somebody like Jesus catches you off guard and says, "This evening I want to have dinner at your home." What's your immediate reaction? Okay, we'll give you some time to react. That's what we do each morning. Here, this is a very big question, and we need to ponder. Am I ready for immediate reaction? How will I react? My reaction will reveal my heart. I didn't realize I was speaking out loud near this tent, but it's empty, thanks be to God. I didn't wake anybody up. Maybe they're away. Maybe they left yesterday or the day before, because the tent was there yesterday morning when I was finishing up. Who knows? Look how tall this grass has become. It's amazing what a little rain does, a little water. I think that little one just caught something. When they catch something, they seem to fly very quickly away to a place where somebody else won't steal it on the... Or the word would be rob it from them, because then it becomes very evident. And it's the law of the jungle, the strongest. So what do you do when somebody very important comes and surprises you with a question? Like somebody really like important. I'm talking about like important like Jesus. You know, I don't know how many people you meet like that. And they come and they said, "This evening I want to have dinner in your home." I actually had dinner in somebody's home yesterday, which is very unusual. Since actually ever, you know, I've gone to very few people's homes since I came here 14 years ago. Some, because, you know, we're always so busy looking after all the people who come to our place, because we're always receiving people. And we had a very delightful evening. There were 5 people, and a very delightful evening, actually, very delightful. How do you react when somebody super important like takes you completely off guard, just like shows up and people aren't happy? There are critical people around, And somebody like that important shows up and says, hey, I want to have dinner in your home. And it's a question that's made in public. Like, how do you react? I think Sotra is protesting all the garbage. So that's what we have today. You know, we have this story today. Amazing story. Actually, there are lots of stories today. It's really quite interesting, and I don't know where to start in a way, because there's so much out there. Like, there's an amazing lady by the name of Liz, and her story is very dramatic. And Liz, she actually left 3 children when she was finished her life in this world, and she was only 24. And in that period of time, she had been dispossessed after her husband had died. Can you imagine? And you're in 24. Like, where were you when you were 24? Presuming that we don't have too many under 24 right now on the program. On our morning show here. Where were you when you were 24? It's amazing, you know, it's amazing. Life is filled, the history is filled with so many people, so many incredible stories. And it really all depends on that first love we talked about yesterday. And I'd like to call this first love number 2. Like, it's the same first love, but it's a second little series, a second little moment on first love. We were on this walk yesterday, people, on this same route, but it's kind of neat, so I hope you're happy. So I threw out a bunch of questions now, and I don't know which one you'd like to deal with, but it's our life can be so rich, or we can close our eyes and we can just like stay in a little shell. And we're called to great love. And some of us are, I think, challenged that love could die. And it gets choked, you know? It gets choked. Choked by so many things, so many foolish concerns. At the end of the day, that's what really idolatry is. It is looking good to put our heart into some things, into some attitudes and habits that are really, they're not really us. They're not really what we were made for. And we get choked. Just choked. Hey, we got a pretty neat stage this morning. Somebody set up this stage pretty well, didn't they? Neat backdrop here for our life on this planet. The weather has cleared up after the storm and everything is so neat and so crisp. Look at all the green coming there. and you've been looking at brown for months. Look at all that green coming up there in the hillsides. Now, if we walk across there, which we can one of these days, you'll see that it's very, very sparsely grassed. Not like here. Well, even though here's a little bit sparse, no, not too bad. But, you know, there's a lot of space where there's no grass. Like here, it's thicker. But if you go up there, it's very thin. And just catching it from an angle, it looks like there's more there than there is. Sometimes that can be our life as well, you know. We might have the appearance of having a lot going on, and it might be very sparse. These are big questions for life. Life is, you know, it's a serious deal. It's for real. Life is for real. And then the freedom we gain interiorly, recognizing our Creator, recognizing the gift of love. Sometimes it's broken and shattered, and then it's redeemed. Redemptive love. And this redemptive love is completely available. A new life can start. Life can start anew, afresh, can be redeemed. Like the guy that broke his leg and they went on to win an Olympic medal afterwards, you know, got fixed and got back into shape. So we should never give in to discouragement in all of this conversation. And actually Liz would have lots of reasons for discouragement. Her marriage was set up when she was 14 years old. Now this happened 800 years ago, and actually I think it was 813 years ago. And today is the anniversary of her passing. So Liz was a princess. And you know, people think like it's easy to be a princess, like, you know, wouldn't anybody like to be a princess? Well, every girl is a princess. It's much matter how you handle it then. But she was one of those real princesses and very highly connected family. And she was married when she was 14. And her husband died when she was about 20, I think. I don't remember exactly. Three kids. And she was, when he died, there were huge family problems over inheritance, you know. Some people fight over an armchair and other people fight over castles. So she went through a mini hell in that situation. And what was she doing all this time? She was completely dedicated to the poorest of the poor. Her location was up in Germany there. She's called Elizabeth of Hungary. And obviously back then the reach was very easy across all those boundaries. So it's amazing to leave a legacy when you're 24, which is world famous. And a lot of people are called Liz after her. She's obviously called Elizabeth after biblical Elizabeths. So people, good morning. Welcome to Sunrise Stroll and Chat here at the Sea of Galilee. Like, good morning, life. Good morning. We're alive. We've got the sun risen today. And my life doesn't have to be like yesterday. It can be another step forward. I'm alive. And there are huge gifts in my life. Even if people don't call me a princess or a prince. And I'm in charge. I'm the king, I'm the queen. I'm calling the shots. Or maybe a better position is to say a prince and a princess, because somebody else is the king. And a lot depends on me. Grace is not lacking, but a lot depends on me. Can you hear the water? It's great to meet people like Liz, people, you know, historical people. It's not fiction, it's for real. Because it helps us to check out where we are. And that's the great interest, the great value of encountering others. They're different than us. They're not the exact same age, maybe. They didn't have the same circumstances. And then we realized maybe they had a lot tougher circumstances. But I don't know enough about Liz, but I think there was no self-pity there. You know, self-pity is one of the worst counselors you can have. Self-pity gives terrible bad advice. And then observation of the poor and compassion for them and doing something for them is one of the greatest acts of love, but it's also a tremendous therapy for ourselves. To help to lift somebody up that needs a hand. I just think it's fascinating that, you know, we can contemplate a woman who lived 800 years ago and who had this incredibly tough life as a princess. Imagine as a princess having a tough life, you know. You say, make me a princess. Well, yeah, give me her life. Well, okay, I mean, I'm not in a hurry. She had her life to live, her path to carve out, her mountain to climb, and I got my one. This morning's pretty nice. Just got a note, say a prayer for them from a family last night at home. I kind of remember the children because they were all younger than me, you know. Children really remember their playmates the same age. When they're 5 or 6 or 7 or 8 years younger, then you kind of don't remember them except that they were very close to one of your siblings who were smaller. But this guy was 58 and he died suddenly, you know. But he already has grandchildren, it's amazing. Thanks be to God. But it was very sudden for the family, you know. So we can say a prayer for them. I feel I'm jumping around a little bit this morning, but there's so much in life, there's so much in the history of humanity, and there's so much ahead of me. My life is not in vain, it's not wasted, it's not a dead end. You know, yesterday we discovered that this street wasn't a dead end, right? Well, you did. I knew it was open, but it was a difficult path to get through to the next piece. Sometimes there's a difficult path to get through to the next piece, to renew the first love. So if somebody really super important right now, like super important like Jesus, and that's a pretty big deal, okay? Somebody that important invites you to dinner, and the invitation is delivered to you, you know, in public. It's delivered to you, like other people are listening. I think I should go with more slowly there, right? So what do you do? What's your immediate reaction? When somebody invites you to dinner? And that somebody is of the category of Jesus. I don't know. This guy Zack, he gave the answer. He was a rough and tumble guy, aggressive. Many people consider him terribly mean, maybe ferociously aggressive. That's what tax collectors were back in the day of the Roman Empire. This guy was around 2,000 years ago. He was just an hour and a half down the road from here, 2 hours down the road from here in Jericho. There was a huge commotion because the day before, or earlier that day, a blind man had been cured by Jesus. And the crowds are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And they're moving because Jesus is moving. Jesus never stationary, like stationary. It's like our life is moving, like we are now. And next thing, Jesus is within reach, but Zack's too small. Like Zack doesn't have the connections. He's kind of an outsider. He's rejected. He's a bad guy. A real bad guy, because he probably, was heavy and mean on so many people. He wasn't a nice flower in a lot of people's life. He was a tax collector. And they had the weight of the Roman army right behind them. And the power of the Roman army right behind them. I'm just fascinated by Zack, how he answered. It was amazing. People are complaining that Jesus wants to go to his house. And Zack puts things back in order. And he said, if I stole anything, I'm going to give it back fourfold. And I'm going to give half my possessions to the poor. It's interesting, isn't it? He's on the same wavelength as Elizabeth, as Liz. So Liz and Zack, they're 1,200 years apart, and they leave us the exact same message, which actually is very good medicine for us. What a glorious morning. Nice little take here. Look at this here. So we have this wall here, and then we have this kind of difficult piece of terrain, and then we have the main road up here, and then we have Mount Arbel there. Oh, there's Father Juan. He's doing his prayer, so we leave him alone. Walking along here, caught up with me. And actually that's part of the secret. Part of the secret is getting up and moving. Part of the secret is taking an hour in silent prayer every morning. Obviously for a priest, maybe a mom with 5 little kids can't sit down for an hour silent prayer. She's running from one kid to the other. And I'm not sure if Liz was able to have an hour of silent prayer in her life. Each one has to find their way to connect. Renewing that first love. I hold it against you that your first love is not there anymore. This was the big theme yesterday. And today, I think it's the theme of our whole lives. To recover that first love. We are given so much. Even if that poor lady lost her husband, 3 kids, her family gets into huge tangle over inheritance in that sudden death. And yeah, she's 24 years of age, a model for the whole world, and she's venerated all over the world. Amazing. Amazing. So may these people who reflect, you see the light is reflected from the lake. It's not good for your eyes to look directly at the sun, but you can look well at the reflection. And these reflections of the light from on high, the reflections of the love of the poor, of service, of not yielding to self-pity, they're a great strength for us. May you have a lovely day today. Thank you for joining our Sunrise Stroll and Chat. And every day is a new day. God bless you all. See you later, alligators. Spread the word. Be renewed. Say, come to dinner. Here I am. Change me. Release me. Free me. Lift me up. God bless you, people.